What is up, spider people of the multiverse? Welcome back. My name is Deceptibot9, here in a new place. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video. I had a big move. I just moved out to Los Angeles, California. So I've got a little bit more of a dedicated space now that I'm living in an apartment to do videos, and I'm super excited. I've got a couple big ones coming up, and some other smaller ones, and some reviews. One of the big ones is today. Today, we're taking a look at Marvel Legends Spider-Man. Lots and lots of Spider-Man. That's what the other big video is too. The other one is a Spider-Man villains ranking. I'll do that later. But today, we're taking a look at it's a top 15 because I'm pretty sure this is all of the ones that I have. Most of them I have here with me. There's some that I think got left in a tub back in my home state. So I will have to get those eventually, but I'll just use pictures from the internet. I'm sure we'll all know the ones that I'm talking about. Anyway, if you don't know, Spider-Man is my favorite comic book character of all time. One of my favorite fictional characters of all time. I love Spider-Man, ever have, always will. He's one of my favorites, just top, period. I love Spider-Man. He's one of my, biggest characters that I look up to, really inspired by the character of Spider-Man. The dorky kid who gets picked on every once in a while, but he has a good heart, and he's really kind, and he really loves people, and he loves taking care of people and helping people. That's the kind of, you can't help but love that kind of guy, right? That's the kind of guy that I look up to and aspire to be. So we're going to be taking a look at lots of different Marvel Legends Spider-Man. I started collecting Marvel Legends seriously in about 2017 with the Spider-Man Homecoming Vulture Build-A-Figure wing wave. So I've got 15 Spider-Man to rank. Little caveat here to mention is that this is mostly a Peter Parker based list, or Peter variants of Peter Parker. So for example, none of the Spider-Girls are on this list. The little ones that I have are not variants of Peter Parker. They're not May Parker, who's kind of closer, and Spider-Punk is not on this list just because he is not technically Peter Parker, but he is a Spider-Man. So that's that. Let's get right into it.
Pizza time.
All right, coming in at number 15 is the Homecoming Wave, the Vulture Build-A-Figure Wave homemade suit Spider-Man. Picture right here because this is one of the ones I can't find. Anyway, this figure's not really bad, in all honesty. It's just not my personal favorite. The suit looks really good. Articulation is not bad. It's a little bit iffy in some places, and overall it looks okay, but there's nothing really about the homemade suit in particular that sticks out to me as being one of my favorites, especially when compared to all the other ones that we've got on this list. Not a lot for me to say about it. It's a good looking suit. It's a good looking figure if you've got a homecoming display, but besides that, not much else.
Pizza time.
And coming in at number 14 is the Far From Home Molten Man Wave Night Monkey. And again, just like the homemade suit one, there's nothing really wrong or bad in particular about this figure. It's just in comparison to all the other ones that are out there, this one is just not one of my favorites. The articulation is really nice, and it looks nice. It's just a little kind of bland in terms of detail, and that's just the nature of the suit and the design itself, rather than the actual figure. The actual figure copies the likeness out fantastically, as we can see. It looks really, really nice, but again, what are you gonna do?
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 13 is Cosmic Spider-Man. Now this one is a fine figure by all means. He looks really nice. And with the alternate heads that it gives you, it's probably better to have this in your display as a Captain Universe. Cosmic Spider-Man. He looks really nice with the Cosmic Spider-Man head and overall, but not really what I'm looking for in terms of a Spider-Man figure, and that's nothing against the figure itself. Again, it's what happens when you imbue Peter Parker with super cosmic god powers, is you get a character that's a little less Spider-Man-y, so that's okay. It's a fine figure. Again, this one's from that Homecoming Vulture Build-A-Figure Wing wave, and that wave overall, it's the one that hooked me and sunk me into Marvel Legends. So very nostalgic for most of these figures, but in terms of comparing to some of the other Spider-Mans we've got, not on the
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 12, one of my personal favorite Spider-Man variant characters. Again, this one is in one of those tubs that got left behind, but Spider-Ham, Peter Porker himself. Love this character, love everything about this guy, and I'm super glad that they made him in Marvel Legends form, but there's a little bit of problems with it, especially in terms of some engineering that we've seen Hasbro do recently. I really want to see them tackle Spider-Ham again, mostly for the leg articulation. That's really where this thing falls, is that he looks spectacular and he's really, really fun to mess around with, but when his legs are in a static pose and you can only twist at the ankle and you can't bend the knee or move at the hip or anything like that, you kind of run out of a little bit of poses to do. And we know the Star Wars Black Series team has been able to do some really good stuff with articulation in terms of smaller figures because of those Ewoks. And I'd really like to see that kind of engineering translated over to the Marvel Legends team to be able to make a Spider-Ham in that same type of engineering style. If we can get a Spider-Ham out of like the Ewok body, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Put it on a retro card, make it happen. All right, coming in at number 11. I had to remember what number we're on. Number 11 is the Homecoming, again, the Homecoming Wave Stark suit. Right, this figure, oh, his colors are a lot lighter on screen. I would like it if they were like that in person. This figure is the first full Spider-Man Marvel Legends that I got. So I've got a lot of nostalgia for this thing. And he's really nice. He's really, really good. But some things that bother me is this color. In person, the colors are a little darker, a little more saturated. But coming out on camera, they're a lot brighter. And I'd actually prefer it if they were the camera colors rather than the real colors. One of the other things that's always kind of bugged me about this figure is I don't think the shoulders sit right. And they don't look quite right. And that's always kind of bugged me. And it's something they fixed on one of the figures we're going to take a look at later in the list. But overall, for a Spider-Man, this figure is pretty dang good. He came with some alternate heads that had different opened eye expressions, closed eye expressions, and overall it looks really, really nice, and it fits in on any MCU shelf because it looks spectacular. They colored in the lines. I know a lot of people complain about them not doing that anymore, and that really looks nice, so there is that at least. But overall, they've improved since this one. This was a good starting point for me, but they've improved since then.
Pizza time.
All right, we're breaking into the top 10. Number 10, Peter B. Parker from the Spider-Verse, the Stiltman Build-A-Figure wave. Now, all of the Spider-Verse figures from this wave are great. They look like they jumped directly out of the screen, and Peter B. is no exception. This guy looks fantastic, and he came with great accessories. Except for this is my complaint about the Peter B figure. I wish they had done what they're doing for the upcoming retro Reed Richards, where he has, the retro Reed has the lab coat and the lab coat arms, but he also can pop those arms out and you can put in regular Fantastic Four suit arms in there because you can take off the coat, so you can have him either lab coat or Fantastic Four, right? I think they should have done the same thing with Peter B. Parker. They should have included regular spider arms so that you can take off the coat and take off those coat arms and then plug in the Spider-Man arms. And they should have given him a full Spider-Man mask. I think if they had made him a non-Build-A-Figure piece character, they should have included those accessories, and that would have made him such a better figure because he's great as he is. The articulation is fantastic. The accessories they gave us are fantastic. I love the cup and the cup hand, and he can be sipping, and the mask up, and the fully unmasked head, and it looks great. But he didn't look like that for the entire movie, and I would have liked to recreate some poses where he's in the more full Spider-Man suit. But nonetheless, those Spider-Verse figures are all out of the park, especially that Miles. But this is not a Miles list. This is a Peter list. Let's move on.
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 9, also got left at home, unfortunately, but this one is awesome. If you're a Spider-Man fan like me, and you have a PlayStation, you've probably played Spider-Man PS4. And for me, Spider-Man PS4 is probably the best version of the character that we've seen in recent years. That game is phenomenal. I've played through it, 100%ed it multiple times. I can't get enough of it. I really, really love it. And the fact that they made a figure out of it also is incredible. And he's a pretty solid figure. One of the biggest gripes about him, though, is, of course, the head sculpt is a little boxier than it looked like in-game. But luckily, I was able to amend that by just having an alternate Spider-Man head laying around. I can't remember which one it's from, but I swapped it with that figure, and it makes that Game Reverse figure look so much better. But you can't go wrong with the white spider logo. That thing is incredible, and he looks great on any spider shelf.
Pizza time.
All right, coming in at number 8. I was debating on whether to count this or not. If you think I shouldn't have, you'll probably let me know in the comments. But I think we should, because Spider-Man is just as much Peter Parker as Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And this Peter Parker from the retro wave, amazing. I love this figure so much. I used to think that I wasn't the guy who wanted the civilian type figures. I was always like, no, give me the ones with superpowers. Why do I want regular people? And then I got Peter Parker, and that has gone all completely out of the window because I've got more Spider-Man civilian figures, and I think we need a Bruce Banner to go with our Hulk. That would be amazing. Anyway, this Peter Parker is absolutely incredible. Peter Parker, absolutely incredible. My biggest gripe with Peter Parker, actually, is I wish the regular head, the glasses were removable. I know you can do some sort of mod to get the glasses to come off, but they're glued onto the side of his head. I wish they were able to come off, because then you could really make for a couple different Peter Parker looks. You could go with the glasses, be the classic 60s looking Peter Parker, but under the glasses, this is a pretty nice looking version of the 90s cartoon Spider-Man, which is what they're going for with the retro. So I think that's a little bit of a missed opportunity. But I do really like this Spider-Sense head a lot. I think that's a really good look on Peter Parker. And overall, he looks great on a Spider-Man shelf, which is what I've got rocking right here. He looks great on a Spider-Man shelf, and I think it was a really necessary piece, and I'm really, really glad we got it, and I like him a lot.
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 7, unfortunately another one that got left alone. I think this is the last one that got left at home, but this is another one of those waves that really sold me on Marvel Legends, because back when I was starting, I was a little hesitant on the Build-A-Figure thing. I didn't want to get into Marvel Legends because I knew that they had figures that I needed to buy an entire wave to get. It was going to hook me. They were smart when they made a decision, because now it's hooked me a lot. But the Lizard Build-A-Figure wave was another one of those that made me really want to go after that figure, because the Lizard is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and it had Mysterio in the wave, and Spider-Man Noir, who is my favorite Spider-Verse alternate version. And so getting Noir in figure form, as well as getting him in the same wave as Mysterio and the Lizard, all that just adds together and makes for what's a pretty awesome figure. I know the trench coat has been reused from Nick Fury. That doesn't bother me a whole lot. The thing that bothers me the most actually about it, though, is that he did not come with a hat. And I haven't really found a good hat to put on top of him to make him look quite right. But otherwise, he is a great figure. And I wish maybe if they make him again soon, that he comes with a hat and an alternate unmasked head, because I think that would look really cool.
Pizza time.
All right, coming in at number 6, the figure that Shartimus Prime wished for a long, long time, big time Spider-Man. This is that fan channel exclusive. When they started doing a bunch of like fan channel exclusive single carded Marvel Legends a couple years back. There was the Cowboy Logan and the Punisher War Machine. There was that Iron Man, all those. This was part of that. And he is on the Pizza Spidey body, which was the best Spider-Man body for a good couple of years. But this guy looks awesome. I think the green looks really nice. And overall, there's not much I can complain about with this guy. He actually came with splayed out web or wall crawling hands, which for some reason seems a little rare to come with Spider-Man figures these days. But I have a ton of fun posing this guy around, and he looks incredible. And maybe one day we'll get a blue version and the red version as well.
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 5, we're breaking into the top 5, the 5 best Spider-Man Marvel Legend figures that I own. I lied when I said Noir was the last one that got left, because this one is actually the last one that got left. We just talked about him for a second. Pizza Spidey. Although I don't have regular true Pizza Spidey, this is the vintage card Pizza Spidey. This is a figure that really hooked me and really sold me for a long time. And I was one of those people who didn't think it was going to get better than Pizza Spidey. He was so fun to pose. His colors were great. Articulation was fantastic. The only thing now, Pizza Spidey is just a little bit outdated. Can't complain about that, obviously. That's a retrospective thing, because for a long time, Pizza Spidey was the go-to. And there's a ton of Spideys on this list that are Pizza Spidey, and I really like. But retrospectively, he's been topped.
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 4 is what I like to call the Dan Slott symbiote Spider-Man. But it's from the Kingpin Build-A-Figure wave nonetheless. And I think this figure looks incredible. Design-wise, he looks amazing. Articulation, again, is fairly Spider-Man standard. He's the Pizza Spidey mold, in essence. But he looks great. I love the way that spider logo looks. I love the clawed fingers and the weird clawed toes. And I like the way the little Venom eyes expand past the actual head. I think it's a great design, and I think it translates very well to figure form here.
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 3, I keep lying about figures that got left. I don't know why. Anyway, number 3, what's better than a 2018 symbiote Spider-Man? Is it more classic symbiote Spider-Man? That's right. Number 3 is symbiote Spider-Man from the Kraven's Last Hunt 2-pack. I didn't think we were going to top this symbiote figure until they just recently revealed the retro symbiote figure, and I can't wait to get my hands on that one. But this one is great. It's hard to even top this. He looks great. Posing is great. He came in a great 2-pack. I know it was a struggle to get, but that's a fantastic 2-pack. You can't go wrong with that. I love the alternate beat-up head. Everything about this figure is awesome. I have no gripes about it.
Pizza time.
Coming in at number 2, I mentioned him way back at the end of the list at like number 14 or so. It's the upgraded Far From Home suit. This was in the Molten Man. Yeah, the Molten Man Build-A-Figure wave. He didn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece, but nonetheless, he is part of that wave. And here's what I'm saying about the shoulders. Those shoulders look so much better than these shoulders, right? I don't know what it is. I think it's the way the muscle pops out on the top a little bit. They moved the actual joint up and out a little bit, which I think makes for a much better look. It's a much more accurate Tom Holland look. And I love the red and the black and the white spider on the back too. And he, in terms of articulation, again, absolutely incredible, phenomenal. He's so much fun to pose around. You can get him in many of the traditional Spider-Man poses, which is usually how I dictate whether a Spider-Man figure articulation is good or not, is if they can get like in the thwip going pose and they can get in the yo-yo pose. And, you know, he can do all of that. Anything a spider can do, this guy can do. Anyway, gripe, doesn't come with wall crawling hands, just like many of the other figures on this list. That's a repetitive thing, but I love the way that this guy looks. He looks great. He's fun to mess around with, fun to pose. Overall, love this Spider-Man.
Pizza time.
And that leaves number one. And I'm sure you all know where this is going, right? I've hinted about it. I haven't said it explicitly outright, but I've hinted about it, right? And if you haven't guessed yet, it's the Retro 2020 single card Spider-Man figure. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. And like we all said about Pizza Spidey, I don't think they're going to get better than this. I don't know how they're going to get better than this. The way they have taken an ab crunch and this upper ab swivel just gives him that extra little bit of flexibility that just, it makes it look so much more natural, because you don't have to rely on a ab crunch and a hip swivel, right? Because that can look a little clunky sometimes. Now we've got this much smoother joint combo that just makes it look much smoother. And he's got the little extra looking back bit so you can kind of look straight. This figure, I know a lot of people struggled with getting this figure. I didn't struggle that much with getting him, thankfully. And I'm so glad I got him, because this is absolutely the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man, personally, that I own. I don't own them all, but this is the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man that I own, and it was probably one of my top 10 favorite figures of 2020 overall. If you're able to get your hands on this Spider-Man, and you're a Spider-Man fan, and you're a Marvel Legends guy, and you haven't yet, you absolutely should get it. And I'm so glad they're starting to use it more now with that Ben Reilly and with that symbiote Spider-Man. Those two, I think, look fantastic, and the body suits him perfect.
Pizza time.
That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. How would you rank the Marvel Legends Spider-Man? Let me know. Did I put some low that you would put high? Did I put some high that you would put low? Go ahead and drop down in the comments. Let me know how I did. If there's any Spider-Man figures that I don't have that you didn't see on this list that you think I should absolutely get, go ahead and let me know. I'm always looking to get more Spider-Man. You guys know that. All right. That's all I've got for you Spider people of the multiverse today. Thanks for joining me. Again, I've got a villain, a Marvel Legends villain Spider-Man wave, or not wave, but Spider-Man villain ranking coming out soon. I've got a bunch of I've got more McFarlane videos on the way. I've got some Transformer reviews for you. I've got lots on the horizon. I'm feeling really creative and motivated now that I'm out here in Los Angeles. This is my way of making films until I hopefully one day break into the business. So, you guys, thanks for joining in, and I'll catch you all next time.